Well, I went down a rabbit hole lately. I needed to find a patent for work, and I accidentally found the wrong one. I could not understand anything on the paper. But, weirdly enough, 1 hour later I was still scrolling through the document and its quirky sketches, as though I was trying to solve a complex riddle. So I asked myself, if there is a patent for almost every invention we see, from little toys to ballistic missiles, there must be very weird ones. Preparing this video, I have found that filing a patent is a long, tedious, and often expensive process. To be accepted by a patent office, an invention must be novel, non-obvious, and useful. Inventors invest significant time, effort, and money in the hope that their ideas will be officially recognized. And yet, somehow, quirky and downright bizarre inventions still manage to slip through. From patents that makes you grin, to those solving hilariously trivial problems, to designs that seem straight out of a mad scientist lab in a dystopian nightmare, I can't help but love diving down the rabbit hole of what the human mind is capable of dreaming up. Welcome to the Weird Patents Archive. Level 1. Public Records. We're starting off easy here, this level is safe. Nothing too strange, nothing too cursed. I have compiled in this section some harmless patents chosen to make you smile, raise an eyebrow, or wonder what kind of morning someone had when they came up with that. For instance, the motorized ice cream cone. Now imagine yourself walking through a city on a scorching summer day. You spot an ice cream vendor nearby, and your mouth instantly starts to water. Unable to resist, you give in and order an XXL chocolate vanilla strawberry cone. You set off, smiling, ice cream in hand. But as you lick one side, the other starts melting onto your fingers, so you turn the cone, and then again, and again, and before you know it, you're rotating your ice cream like a kebab on a spit, hardly the relaxing treat you imagined. Sounds like a lot of work for a simple pleasure. Well, everyone has their struggles, no judgment here. Apparently, it was a serious enough problem for the inventor of our next patent. Yes, the motorized ice cream cone. This battery-powered device used a small motor in the handle to slowly turn the ice cream, distributing melting ice cream evenly around all sides rather than allowing it to drip down on the side, allowing the ice cream to feed its content against a person's outstretched tongue. I just love the way it's written. In those quirky patents, there is a wonderful contrast between the pragmatic, scientific way of writing and the eccentric invention it describes. Accordingly, the reader will see that, when operated, my invention provides a novel, versatile, and previously unexploited type of device for consuming an individual portion of ice cream or similar food. Although I've never come across this invention in real life, I stumbled upon it online. Say goodbye to dripping ice cream as you step into the future of snacking with the motorized ice cream cone. Oh wow, apparently Steve Skidmark agrees with the inventor. Seriously, take a moment to read this entire review, it's absolutely worth it. Just maybe try to ignore the aftertaste. The bird diaper. Yep, you read that right, a bird diaper. More specifically, a bird diaper for an uncaged pet bird to wear, featuring an enclosed pouch for receiving and containing excrement, with openings to accommodate the wings and tail. Gazing at the sketch, something that would not look out of place in a modern art exhibit, I guess, you can't help but ask, why? What a real-world problem does this solve? Well, the patent granted back in 1999 provides an answer. This clever invention was designed to protect dwellings and belongings from being soiled by pet excrements as sanitary considerations exist. It goes on to explain that pet birds comprise a special class of domesticated animals whose ability to fly and walk pose unique sanitary problems. The documentation dives deep into the anatomical variations among bird species, offering precise guidelines on how to fit the diaper without limiting mobility or causing discomfort. I've never had a pet bird myself, so for those of you who have, is this a genuine issue? A quick search led me to a brand called Avian Fashions, which actually sells these bird diapers, and I must admit, this parrot is looking quite sharp. They even offer hoodies, yes, hoodies for birds. Okay, I have been looking at parrot fashion for almost an hour now, and I'm quite impressed by the size of this niche market. What a world we live in. Next, the knife, fork, spoon. Sorry, I just had to include this one, I love it. It's simple, compact, and honestly just a perfect idea. And get this pattern goes all the way back to 1874. If you've ever camped, you might know the knork, a combo of knife and fork. Well, this takes it further by adding a spoon into the mix. One tool, three functions, what more could you want? I found a modern version called the Spoke Willow, and yep, it's still being used today, 151 years later, but I just can't help but wonder, how do you not slice your left cheek open while trying to eat the soup in the wild? The animal ear protectors. This patent was granted in 1980, and it claims to solve a lifelong problem. It's called a device for protecting the ears of animals, especially long-haired dogs, from becoming soiled by the animal's food while eating. Okay, let's play another round of Does this still sell today? Short answer, nope. I didn't find anything. Sure, there are some ear protectors for noise, which are honestly adorable, and a few snoot type things for dogs. But nothing that looks like the tubes found in the sketches in the original patent. And then it hit me. I do have a long-haired dog myself. D'accord. Both. Level 2. The archived notes. We had a good laugh with the level 1 stuff, harmless. A little ridiculous, but all in good fun. But down here, in the archived notes, the tone shifts. Not in your face creepy, just unsettling, like someone went a little too far trying to solve a problem no one asked about. The subscribe button. It would have been amazing to find a button for the YouTube subscribe button. This is my first video, and if you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, hitting the subscribe button would mean the world to me. There are so many fascinating topics I want to explore with you in this format. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback so I can make future videos even better. I won't take up any more of your time, so let's dive into the automatic dog petter. Let's take the automatic dog petter for example. When I first saw this one, I was convinced it came straight of the 60s America. It has this retro futuristic, almost Fallout vibe, like something designed for a suburban middle-class family that owns a robot vacuum, a turquoise fridge, and a perfectly mowed lawn. But no, this patent is from 2006. According to the document, the invention is a device to comfort pets such as canines or felines. Basically, it uses a small sensor to activate a mechanical petting hand, and if that wasn't enough, it can even play a recorded voice to soothe your pet while you're away. There's an absolutely amazing photo here. Honestly, it looks like the album cover of a Midwest emo band. It is fact of modern life that most people walk away from their homes. If they have pets, these pets will often be alone for many hours. This can cause psychological problems for dogs. It is important that the dog receives stimulations that are similar to those received from their human master. The only real-life creation I've found that comes close to this is a beautiful wooden contraption by Matt Thompson. It's fully analog, handmade, and somehow deeply soothing to watch. Portable baby cage. In the 20s, cities in the US started growing fast, thanks to the momentum of the Industrial Revolution. Factories and new industries were booming, and that meant a lot of jobs and people migrating from the countryside to the cities looking for work. At the same time, big improvements in medicine and public health made living in urban areas safer and more manageable. With more people moving in and fewer people dying from disease, the population in major cities shot up, changing the way Americans lived almost overnight. With this rapidly changing new world came a lot of issues, such as raising and properly housing babies and small children in crowded cities. So, What do you do when you can't let your newborn breathe in the delightful 1920s factory's fumes because you live on the 92nd floor? Well, I suppose you just stick the baby in a little cage on the balcony, thanks to this beautiful patent from 1923. In crowded cities, there is no way for proper ventilation. Those living in apartments have no facilities whatever to permit the children and babies to receive proper fresh air from the outside. It is the purpose of the present invention to provide an article of manufacture for babies and young children, to be suspended upon the exterior of a building adjacent to an open window wherein the baby or young child may be placed. I have found actual photographs confirming these were actually used in London and New York during this era. They fell out of favor due to, I think, new points of view on the quality of air in crowded cities, but also growing safety concerns. User-operated butt kicker. Remember a few minutes ago, I was talking about an automatic dog petter? It seems like this pattern serves the same purpose, but for humans. And I guess not for the same reason. Well, to be honest, I'm still looking for the real purpose of this invention. This patent, granted in 2001, tells us it is an amusement apparatus for self-infliction of repetitive blows to the user's buttocks by a plurality of elongated arms bearing flexible extensions that rotate under the user's control. This figure is incredible. I hope the patent office had a good laugh looking at this one. Prior art devices include individual spanking devices that must be reloaded or reset after each individual spanking action. This is a great example of how humanity is progressing, more butt kicked per minute for less work. But I was really curious to see this thing in action. But pretty quickly, I ended up on the wrong side of the internet, stumbling across some truly bizarre self-spanking machines. Definitely not something I'll be showing here on YouTube. The only other non-wind use I could think of is maybe at a fair, where the goal is to kick your own butt but as many times per second as possible. I don't know. That's the only explanation I found that wasn't weirdly sexual. Level 3. Obscure reports. The alarm clock bed ejector. As we begin to dive further into this rabbit hole, we come across more ancient patents, like this one, filed in 1892, the time alarm bed. It is well known that the ordinary alarm clock often fails of its purpose in waking people or at least in compelling them to get up, and the object of my invention is to produce a bed and attachments therefore which will overcome this difficulty and which, at any required time, will actually eject the occupant from the bed. What? Reminds me a lot of the old Wallace and Gromit, where Wallace created a contraption to wake him up actually. Looking at the figures at the start of the patent, it seems like a lever on the side of the bed goes downward as an alarm clock rings, pushing the poor sleepy human to roll on the floor. I tried to look for safety concerns in the file, but no mention anywhere. One head trauma a day keeps the doctor away. Who in their right mind would go to bed thinking, I'm going to sleep well tonight, can't wait to hug the floor with my head? Perhaps, scared of the fall, the bed occupant would install a new mattress on the side, but now you just roll onto another bed and resume your sleep? I don't know, this makes no sense to me. Just don't go to sleep at this point, it will be better for your health. Anti-eating face mask. Things become a bit more unsettling with this contraption. Okay, it's just a face mask with a grid for people to stop themselves from eating. It's weird, makes not a lot of sense to me. You can take it off at any time, or can you? As creepy as it sounds, there seems to be a tiny lock hidden. Under emergency conditions, the strap may be cut and the face mask of the invention removed. Thank God, 50 Shades of Hannibal Lecter. The temptation to eat which leads one to eat excessively is ever present, and the ready availability of attractively prepared, taste-tempting foods makes the temptation to eat and therefore to overeat virtually irresistible. Frequently, this temptation is so great that compulsive eating is not uncommon, and many persons are virtually without the strength of will to resist overeating. The average person, therefore, does have a problem as to overconsumption of food. Typical of such groups of individuals is the housewife. Welcome to the 80s where anything is possible and yeah, but if you're not a woman, I guess. Let's keep reading. The housewife who must frequently cook meals during the day, which generally includes the preparation of such fattening foods such as pies, pastries, and the like. During the preparation of such meals, not only is there the temptation to nibble on the food being prepared, but it is generally necessary that the food be tasted during preparation. Is your housewife constantly nibbling on the food she prepares for the hardworking father you are? Yes, sir, she has a problem. But we have the solution. Just lock her up when you are away, and when you come home, don't forget her kibbles. Okay, let's move on. The flatulence filter cushion. This could be anything. Modern art, a pitch from the top, earth layers, an old wall, a flatulence filter cushion? Yes, it is. It's a flatulence filter cushion. The present invention discloses a flatulence filter seat cushion for absorbing odor and providing sound attenuation from an anal discharge of a seated individual. This sounds promising, to be honest. The average person produces 2 to 3 pints of gas daily. Come on, do you really have to say it like this? A pint of fart? The seat cushions are typically used at home, in office environments, for ritual patients, while traveling in the car, train, plane, and sporting events, or for that special gift-giving occasion. I have found it online. It uses advanced flatulence filtering technology. I just love it. Imagine the engineer behind this work. There once was simple flatulence filtering technology, but no, thanks to his work in this wonderful field, it has become advanced. Jokes aside, I have to say this could be a great product for people with IBS or other digestive condition. Level 4. The restricted files. Grab a drink. Shut the lights off. Make yourself comfortable because the laugh out loud charm of the first patterns is gone. And even the slightly unhinged inventions from level 3 are starting to look reasonable. This is where things get murkier. These aren't just quirky anymore, they're the kind of patterns that make you tilt your head, squint, and quietly wonder what chain of events in someone's life led to this. Some feel like a joke taken too far, others like the opening scene of a story you don't want to be in. For instance, the life expectancy timepiece. This is my time remaining on Earth. At least, the time this patent has calculated for me. I am 29 years old, so my life expectancy is 44.16 years. I live in a city. That's a -2, plus 3 years for regular and moderate exercise. -2 for being tense and nervous, but +2 because I consider myself placid enough to counter the effect of being anxious sometimes. I don't drink alcohol, but I smoke. -3. But +3 for my regular medical checkups, thanks to the medical care of my countries, I guess. But -2 for being frequently sick. The time you are seeing on the screen is the approximate time I should live while I'm making this video. But this is very, very simplistic. It does not take into account the genetics, chronic illnesses, bad habits, etc. It's really just a digital wife from the 90s, counting backwards some arbitrary numbers. But I really like the creepiness it creates. Almost like it could have been taken out of Stephen King novel. Just for a moment. Imagine if you buy a watch like this. You start it and...
Welcome, human. Nice to meet you. Please wait for the data recollection. You have 42 minutes and 42 seconds remaining. What is the last thing you wish to do in your life?
Anti-nuclear suitcase. 1956. The United States is deeply entrenched in the Cold War. Halfway around the globe, Soviet tanks roll into Budapest to crush the Hungarian uprising, a stark reminder of the Iron Curtain's grip. In the Middle East, Washington finds itself opposing Britain, France, and Israel during the Suez Crisis, fearing Soviet gains in the region. Even at home, the nuclear arms race accelerates, long-range bombers take shape, and civil defense drills remind Americans that global tensions could turn local in an instant. And the same year as Invasion of the Body Snatchers is airing in movie theaters, carrying huge Cold War undertones mirroring anxieties about communism infiltration into the mind of the patriotic US citizen, the anti-nuclear suitcase patent is filed. As a result of the development and use of the atomic bomb during the last war, and the many subsequent developments in the field of nuclear warfare since this time, many people are sincerely apprehensive about the possibilities of another war. It is now apparently quite feasible to project nuclear projectiles over great distances and at great speeds by using jet aircraft, rockets, guided missiles, etc. Again, if you have ever played Fallout, you know where this is coming from. This invention seems to try to capitalize on this ambient nuclear paranoia. Next to Fallout shelters, survival kits, Geiger counters, and radiation detectors flying off the shelves. It's no coincidence that the man in the sketch is dressed in a costume. One of the main concerns of the civilian and military authorities is the problem as to what measures can be taken to protect millions of civilians in the event of a surprise nuclear attack. The main object of this invention is to provide a portable shield which would serve to guard the human body from the injurious or lethal effects of the nuclear explosion. A second object of this invention is to provide a portable shield against nuclear explosions, which can be easily and quickly placed around a considerable portion of the human body. The figure 7 strikes me the most, as it really depicts the vibe in this era. A sort of dystopia where everything could fall as fast as it was built in the past century. This patent reflects how deeply the nuclear threat shaped daily life and technology during the Cold War. In the meantime, the middle-class man can go to work and not be afraid of a nuclear warfare thanks to his new suitcase. Let's just hope he is not aware of the works of Marie Curie. The decomposition coffin. The very recent patent coffin and method for collecting human bones, published in 2023, relates a new technology made to accelerate the process of decomposition of the body. Why, will you ask? At present, there are two main types of funerals: burial, in the ground, and cremation. The burial occupies a large area of land, while the cremation occupies less land, but some people feel afraid and difficult to accept cremation after death. The disclosure relates to a coffin, and particularly to a coffin used to decompose a body and bones, and collect the bones or cremate the bones into bone ashes. The disclosure is a supplement to cremation. The sketches are very simplistic. I won't go into too much details concerning the technology, but the patent basically focuses on oxygenating the coffin to speed up decomposition while keeping ants and maggots from getting inside. After the decomposition of the body is completed, the body in the coffin can be sterilized, disinfected, cleaned, and dried without opening the coffin lid. I am really not an expert in this field, but I wonder how much time this invention could decompose a body. After a quick search, which led me to very creepy questions by the population of Reddit, it seems that the decomposition is dependent of a lot of factors, like humidity, environment, etc. Skeletonization is a very complex phenomenon, and I could not get my answers, but it seems like oxygen is really not the only factor here. Now comes the ethics of this procedure. This solution tries to only solve a space problem, while not mentioning the cost in energy, for instance, which seems to be very high and not quite ecological. Moreover, if you are afraid of being cremated, would you not be afraid of only your bones being cremated and not the other parts of your body? Yes, this is a very weird question, but tell me in the comments, what do you think about this? Microphone tattoo. Hey, would you ever get a microphone tattooed on your neck? Hell no! We are in 2013. The first iPhone made this revolution only 6 years ago, and the smartphone market is booming. In an era where tactile smartphones are becoming the new norm, manufacturers are all eager to find a new technology achievement. One Motorola employee had the wonderful idea of coupling an electronic skin tattoo to a mobile communication device. A simple idea: an embedded microphone, a transceiver for enabling wireless communication with a phone, and a power supply. Why can engineers create incredibly complex systems and think so much outside of the box and come out with sketches like that? That is so creepy, it feels like I'm reading 1984 by George Orwell now. One very weird mention is the galvanic skin response detector to detect skin resistance of a user. It is contemplated that a user that may be nervous or engaging in speaking falsehoods may exhibit different galvanic skin response than a more confident truth-telling individual. Galvanic skin response, or GSR, because Americans love acronyms, is a way of measuring the change of electrical properties of skin. When we experience something particularly emotional in some way, we trigger our sweat glands in very small ways that we are not aware of, whereby our skin becomes more conductive to electricity. So GSR is essentially measuring small variations in the electrical conductivity of our skin as a response to some stimuli. This technology is used in smartwatches, for instance, to measure a sort of level of stress, and in some neuroscience branches, but with a little bit of research, well, it does not really work that well, and I'll be careful calling this tech a lie detector, for instance. 12 years later, I could not find any application of this patent. Well, we have wireless earplugs, and well, we can take them off when we want, I guess. Human Walker Cage. Here, I'll show you one little thing. Words are really unnecessary. The little faith I have in this world is being crushed again. Yeah, this one is pretty self-explanatory. I hope no one will have to work like this. Now I am depressed. You are depressed. Here is a video of a 104 years old turtle. I'm hoping this will brighten a bit your mood.